Welcome to the deep dive.
It's great to be here.
Today, we're really trying to unpack some complex ideas. We want to deliver those genuinely surprising insights you expect from us.
And the topic today, well, it's a big one.
It really is. We're diving into a question that honestly has probably echoed through every culture, every single age. Who are we, really?
Beyond the surface stuff.
Exactly. Beyond our jobs or families, the day-to-day grind. What is that authentic core, that true self we hear about?
And maybe more importantly, how do we actually connect with it? How do we live a life that feels, deeper, more meaningful?
That's the goal. A life with more depth, more connection. And look, this isn't just going to be some, abstract philosophical chat.
No, definitely not. We're aiming for practical wisdom here, things you can actually use.
Practical wisdom for navigating your own inner world. That's the key.
And the sources we're drawing on today are, well, they're incredibly varied. It really reflects the huge scope of this human quest.
Yeah, tell us about that.
We've got a real tapestry here. Everything from, ancient spiritual texts, mystical writings, all the way to modern psychological insights, deep philosophical thinking. It really shows the many, many paths people have taken over centuries.
Trying to uncover that deeper self, connect with something bigger.
Exactly. It's fundamentally an exploration of consciousness itself.
Okay. So our mission for you, listening right now, is to try and distill some surprising facts, some really profound insights from all these different viewpoints.
Think of it maybe as a shortcut.
Yeah, a shortcut to getting a deeper handle on this universal human spiritual quest. We want to spark those aha moments for you.
And give you some, hopefully, practical takeaways for your own journey.
Right. It's not about finding the single right answer, because there probably isn't one.
It's more about appreciating the whole spectrum of approaches.
And helping you find what resonates, what feels true for you. Okay.
Sounds good. Let's dive in.
All right. Let's unpack this.
The architecture of self, ego, awareness, and the true nature.
Okay, so to kick things off, let's tackle something pretty fundamental. It's an idea that crops up in, loads of spiritual traditions. This idea of separation.
Right, the feeling that we're all separate individuals.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of human society, especially maybe in its earlier or more primitive stages, operates under what some sources actually call separation consciousness.
That's a term for it.
It's this really deep-seated belief that we see ourselves as distinct, isolated units, separate from each other, separate from nature, maybe even separate from the divine or God.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is how one of our sources, Conversations with God, links this directly to how societies structure themselves.
How so?
Well, it argues that civil laws, rules and regulations are required in your primitive society. Now, the interesting bit is why. It's not because people are inherently bad, but because we perceive ourselves as separate. The law isn't really the solution. It's more like a symptom.
A symptom of that deeper illusion of separateness. Okay, so the surprising thing isn't just that laws exist, but that their very presence points to this fundamental misunderstanding, this lack of seeing our interconnectedness.
Precisely. These laws become, necessary tools for governance. They keep individuals who see themselves as fundamentally separate in some kind of order.
It's the glue for society when that deeper inherent connection isn't, widely felt or recognized.
That's a good way to put it.
So, following that logic, a society without those external laws, it wouldn't just be more evolved in some abstract sense. It'd be operating from a completely different baseline assumption about who we are.
Totally different. Built on intrinsic alignment, not, imposed order.
That really makes you think about our modern legal systems, doesn't it?
It does. And the same source goes on to talk about these non-primitive societies, where such external laws become unnecessary. Why? Because all beings regulate themselves.
Wow. Okay. That implies a massively different state of consciousness.
It does, where individuals just naturally, almost intuitively align with what the source calls God's law. But here's the kicker. God's law is defined as no law, meaning I require nothing.
No law requires nothing. That's radical.
It's a complete shift away from external rules toward an internal self-governing harmony, a harmony that just arises naturally when that sense of unity is understood.
So true order isn't forced from the outside.
It emerges spontaneously from within.
Yeah.
Once that illusion of being separate dissolves, it really points to a potential, maybe evolutionary step in consciousness.
Where we realize we're all interconnected, making all that external enforcement kind of redundant.
Exactly. And this whole idea, it stretches even beyond our physical lives into what might happen after death.
Oh, interesting. How so?
The source suggests that in the afterlife, results are instantaneous. And crucially, we will understand yourself to be creating your own reality.
Instant results, creating our own reality. That throws out a lot of traditional ideas about, fixed eternal truths, doesn't it?
Completely. It suggests our experience isn't some pre-written script. It's an immediate reflection, a manifestation of our own consciousness.
Okay, now that's where it gets really mind-bending. So it's not about pre-packaged heavens or hells.
Apparently not. More like a direct, instant mirroring of our thoughts, our beliefs, our inner state.
Wow. So the source says you are a divine creature, divinely creating your reality, even as you are experiencing it.
Yes. So even the myths and legends we carry with us, maybe even those frightening near-death experiences some report, they're shaped by our own perceptions, our own desires, our own fears.
It's like we're in a continuous act of creation, moment by moment, even after we shed the physical body. That really puts the responsibility for our experience squarely back on us, doesn't it? On our internal state.
It's a huge statement about our inherent creative power, our agency, our consciousness, our desires. Our whole inner landscape is constantly shaping what we experience.
Okay. But to really grasp that, to harness that creative power, we need to deal with the big obstacle, right? The ego.
Yes, the ego. It comes up everywhere.
It really does. Ancient wisdom, modern psychology. Eckhart Tolle, in A New Earth, gives a pretty clear take on it. He says, basically, until that awareness happens, there is identification with inner states, and such identification is ego.
So most of the time, our sense of I is tangled up with our thoughts, our feelings, our reactions.
Right, like I am my anger or I am my anxiety. We don't see a difference.
And the key, Tolthe says, is disidentification. Getting untangled from those thoughts, emotions, reactions.
Now, this isn't about suppressing them, is it? Or pretending they're not there.
No, not at all. It's about recognizing them without being consumed by them. Yeah. Seeing them rise and pass away.
So your sense of self shifts.
Exactly. It shifts from being those states to becoming the awareness, the conscious presence that witnesses those states.
It's like stepping back, becoming the observer instead of the actor caught up in the drama.
A fundamental repositioning inside yourself.
Yeah.
You're still present, but you're not lost in the storyline.
Okay, creating that internal distance, that witness perspective. But this brings us to a major challenge for the ego, doesn't it? Unconditional love.
Huge challenge. Marianne Williamson, interpreting A Course in Miracles, puts it very bluntly, unconditional love is the death of the ego.
The death of the ego? Why?
Because the ego is all about self-preservation through separation and judgment. It wants to present a perfect face because it operates out of this deep fear that if you saw the truth about me, I would be rejected.
So it creates masks. Illusions.
Exactly. It actively fosters illusions to maintain this manufactured self. It keeps us feeling separate, guarded, special, maybe better than, maybe worse than, but always separate.
Yeah, the ego builds these elaborate defenses because it sees vulnerability, sees truth as a threat to its existence. It spins this whole internal story that keeps us trapped.
And A Course in Miracles goes deeper into this. It shows how the ego convinces us it's impossible to see no guilt in anyone. It wants us locked into a belief in sin that it claims must be eternal.
It's like a self-feeding loop of judgment and fear. Keeps us stuck thinking we're broken, others are broken.
Precisely. The ego thrives on finding fault, doesn't it? In ourselves, in others. It justifies its need for control, its need for separation.
But the Course and reason itself suggests this is just an illusion.
Right. It argues, look, if escape from guilt was given to the Holy Spirit as his purpose, and if this Holy Spirit represents a power for whom nothing he wills can be impossible,
then escape must be possible. The means must be available to us.
Exactly. It implies that the illusions we create, especially when the one who makes them does not see himself as making them, aren't solid realities.
They're just projections, mental constructs.
Yes, projections of our own mind. And we don't see their unreality because we've become, in a sense, separate from his mind in that act of projecting. We've forgotten we're the magician creating the trick.
We build the prison walls and then forget we hold the key. That's a powerful image.
It really is. And to move beyond this, to get past the ego's tricks, so many traditions point towards connecting with something deeper, the soul.
The soul's deeper essence.
And some mystical traditions like Sufism and Christianity offer a really radical view here. They suggest the soul's deepest core is divine. St. Catherine of Genoa famously declared, My me is God, nor do I recognize any other me except my God himself.
Wow. That's not just believing in God, that's a complete identification. The dissolution of the separate self into the divine.
It's an experienced reality for these mystics. Bayezid Bistun, a Sufi master, puts it even more starkly. Someone asked him, "Is Bayezid here?" And his reply,
What did he say?
"Is anybody here except God?"
Incredible. That just blows the doors off our usual sense of identity. It's pure non-duality. He also said something about only being truly alive for 4 years.
Yes, because the rest of the time he felt veiled from God. It just underscores how total that experience of unity was for him, and how anything less felt like not truly living.
This deep connection changes everything. It even reframes how we think about psychology, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Gary Zukav makes this point powerfully in The Seat of the Soul. He points out that the word psychology literally means soul knowledge, study of the soul.
Right. Psyche, soul, logos, study.
Yet, as he observes, a lot of mainstream five-sensory psychology, well, it often doesn't even acknowledge the soul's existence, let alone its nature, its health, its journey.
It's like trying to understand a plant by only looking at the leaves without considering the roots or the soil.
Exactly. It focuses on symptoms and behaviors, but misses the underlying spiritual and energetic reality. Zukov argues it's a major limitation.
So, following his logic, things like our fears, our anger, our jealousies, the stuff that can really deform a personality, you can't fully grasp them without looking at the karmic circumstances they serve.
That's a huge paradigm shift, isn't it? It suggests these intense emotional patterns aren't just random psychological glitches.
They might be connected to a deeper energetic story, soul lessons, maybe even past life stuff.
That's the implication. He argues that finding authentic power, real inner strength and clarity, requires that you recognize the existence of your soul and grow in knowledge of what it is and what it wants.
So self-discovery has to go deeper than just surface psychology. It involves understanding our soul's purpose, its lessons.
It's about tuning into that deeper level, recognizing our inner struggles might be reflections of these soul-level dynamics.
And this idea of a soul, maybe even a unified soul, it's not new, is it?
Not at all. Plotinus, the ancient Neoplatonist philosopher, had a fascinating take in the Enneads. He suggested the soul is fundamentally one, an indivisible essence.
But how does that work if we all feel like separate souls in separate bodies?
He used the analogy of light. Imagine one single source of light shining into many different rooms through different windows. You see separate patches of light on the floor in each room. But the source of the light is still one single, undivided source.
Okay, I see. So while individual souls might animate different bodies or leave a body,
the identical soul, this universal essence, this light, is never truly separate from the whole. It's a profound vision of unity underlying all the apparent diversity.
For Plotinus, that wasn't just a nice metaphor, was it? It was like the reality of how universal consciousness works.
It was his understanding of the ultimate reality, a single, whole consciousness manifesting in countless ways, yet remaining intrinsically one.
It's amazing how this theme keeps recurring, this journey from the illusion of separation towards recognizing an ultimate unity, the soul's true nature.
It really is a central thread.
Okay, so that gives us a map of the territory, the self, the ego, the soul. But how do people actually navigate this territory? What are the different paths, the different methods people use?
Now we get into the incredible variety of spiritual practices and approaches.
Let's dive into that next, the how of the journey.
Navigating the spectrum of spiritual paths.
All right, so we've looked at the architecture of self. Now let's explore the how. The amazing diversity of spiritual paths people have followed. Some traditions really emphasize a very direct, unmediated connection, like no middleman needed.
Exactly. Ralph Waldo Emerson is a great example of this, the whole transcendentalist movement he championed.
Yeah, he had a pretty strong take, didn't he? He believed that the relations of the soul to the divine spirit are so pure that it is profane to seek to interpose helps.
Profane. That's strong language. He's saying things like teachers, texts, even temples, can actually get in the way.
That seems to be the implication. He argued that when God truly speaks, he should communicate not one thing, but all things, and that voice should fill the world.
So in that state of direct reception,
all those external means, teachers, texts, temples, fall. Now, fall probably doesn't mean they literally crumble.
More like their necessity disappears. They become optional, not essential.
Right, because the mind, when it's simple and open to that divine wisdom, lives now and absorbs past and future into the present hour. It's all right here.
It's a powerful call for trusting your own inner authority, isn't it?
Mm.
Cut out the intermediaries because the divine is directly accessible within you.
Totally. Be fully present. See the sacred in everything right now without needing an institution to validate it.
And speaking of direct action, there's this amazing anonymous mystical text from the 14th century, The Cloud of Unknowing. It gives some very specific, almost paradoxical advice.
What's that?
It says to leave all that thing that I can think and choose to my love that thing that I cannot think.
Leave what I can think. Choose what I cannot think. How does that work?
It continues. For why he may well be loved, but not thought. It's a direct challenge to our constant need to intellectualize God, the divine, everything.
So thinking about God can actually be a barrier.
That's the idea. It suggests our intellect, our concepts can only take us so far. The text calls for a devout and a pleasing stirring of love to basically smite upon that thick cloud of unknowing.
A cloud of unknowing. Pierced by love, not thought.
Exactly. It's not about achieving ignorance, but about going beyond the limits of the conceptual mind. The goal isn't intellectual mastery.
But a true knowing and feeling. An experience.
Yes, a direct experience of God as he is, as it is possible, of a meek soul living in this deadly body. It's a path of the heart driven by love, bypassing the filters of logic.
More intuition than analysis.
Precisely. And this ties into other ideas about intuition. Like in the Celestine prophecy, it suggests that as we loosen our grip, that habitual need to logically control events.
And maybe step back from constantly analyzing everything.
Other kinds of thoughts enter your mind from a higher part of yourself. These are described as intuitions.
And they feel different somehow.
Yeah, they feel different, maybe appearing as a daydream or a mini vision. Their purpose is to direct you, to guide you.
It's like switching channels, isn't it? Tuning out the static of the analytical mind to hear a clearer signal from somewhere deeper. That gut feeling that often turns out to be spot on.
It's that inner guidance system kicking in when the ego's usual control tactics take a backseat, which leads us nicely into paths that really focus on stillness, mindfulness, inner purification.
Okay, like what?
Well, Deepak Chopra's Law of Pure Potentiality, from the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, puts stillness right at the forefront. He says stillness is the first requirement for manifesting your desires.
Stillness? Why stillness?
Because in stillness, you connect to the field of pure potentiality that can orchestrate an infinity of details. This field is like the unmanifest source of everything, infinite possibilities.
Okay, I like the pond analogy you used earlier. If the pond is still, the ripples of your intention can spread clearly. If it's turbulent,
your intention gets lost in the chaos. Chopra also stresses non-judgment. He says constant evaluation, that running commentary in our heads, criticizing everything, creates turbulence in your internal dialogue.
And that turbulence blocks the flow.
It constricts the flow of energy to that field of potentiality. It literally squeezes the gap between thoughts.
And that gap, that's the connection point.
That gap of silence, that space between thoughts is your connection to the field of pure potentiality and infinite creativity. So judging less creates more space for creation.
More stillness, more potential. Makes sense. What about other traditions?
The Dhammapada, a core Buddhist text, lays out the Eightfold Path as the supreme way for achieving purity of vision.
The Eightfold Path, right understanding, right thought, right speech.
Right? Action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration. It's a very practical framework.
And the goal.
Through following this path, one achieves refraining from all that is detrimental, the attainment of what is wholesome, the purification of one's mind. This leads ultimately to nibbana.
Nibbana nirvana, which isn't really a place, is it? More like a state.
Exactly. It's the cessation of suffering, where the intoxicants, our cravings, attachments, illusions, defilements come to an end. But the text emphasizes individual effort. By you is the task strenuously to be done.
I love that line. By you is the task strenuously to be done. No outsourcing your awakening.
No shortcuts. No one else can do it for you. It's very empowering.
In a way, definitely. And then you have the really rigorous practices like in yoga.
Right. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali describe a very disciplined process. It involves purifying the life force, the Kundalini chakra, often pictured as coiled energy at the spine's base, and purifying the subtle body through practices like yoga austerities, tapas, and sometimes celibacy.
And this purification leads to?
It leads to developing a refined intellect called the Buddhi intellect, which is capable of avoiding mistaken views. It's about cleansing the whole system, physical, energetic, mental.
To gain clarity.
Clarity, discernment. And the ultimate aim of these yogic practices is achieving samadhi.
Samadhi, what is that exactly?
It's described as a state of continuous, effortless linkage of the attention to any of the higher concentration forces, deep meditative absorption, profound inner peace.
Where the mind is just completely still and focused.
Effortlessly focused.
Yeah.
But getting there requires overcoming distractions. Distractions from memory, pulling you into the past,
Yeah.
and distractions from cultural activities, pulling your attention outward. Both can cause unsteadiness and progression on the path. It's a very disciplined training of the mind.
So whether it's the simplicity of stillness, the ethical framework of the Eightfold Path, or the intense discipline of yoga, the core themes seem to be inner purification, mindfulness, presence.
Absolutely. And running through many of these, sometimes explicitly, sometimes more subtly, is the transformative power of love.
Ah, love as a foundational force.
Yes. Eric Fromm, in The Art of Loving, gives us a really interesting perspective. He argues, love is not primarily a relationship to a specific person.
Wait, not primarily about a specific person. How's
He says it's more fundamental than that. It's an attitude and orientation of character which determines the relatedness of a person to the world as a whole.
Okay, unpack that a bit. An orientation to the world.
He argues that if you love only one other person and are indifferent to the rest of his fellow men, then your love isn't really love. It's more like a symbiotic attachment or an enlarged egotism.
Ouch. An enlarged egotism. So exclusive love isn't the real deal for Fromm.
Not in its highest form. He believes true love for one person actually means you're capable of loving all persons. I love the world, I love life.
So genuine love for your partner should reflect a broader capacity for love itself. It should expand outwards.
That's his point. If I truly love you, then I love in you everybody. I love through you the world. I love in you also myself. It's a love that includes rather than excludes.
That's a very high bar. But beautiful, how does that connect to growth?
Well, Marianne Williamson, drawing again on A Course in Miracles, talks about unconditional acceptance. She says, the Holy Spirit accepts people unconditionally. And crucially, this acceptance doesn't prohibit growth, rather, it fosters it.
That feels counterintuitive, doesn't it? We often think we need criticism to grow.
Right. But she explains that criticism coming from the ego judgment, fault-finding, just will call up the ego in others. It creates defensiveness, blocks connection.
Whereas speaking from the Holy Spirit, from love, from acceptance.
It will call up their love. It creates a safe space where genuine growth and healing can actually happen. People feel seen and accepted, which paradoxically makes them more open to change.
Compassion fosters growth more effectively than criticism. That makes sense.
And this theme of love, especially divine love, is central in Sufism too. The Masnavi, a classic Sufi text, often references the Quran, saying God loves those who love him and they love him.
A reciprocal relationship.
Yes, a two-way street of love between the human and the divine. And another text, Theologia Germanica, takes this to an extreme with the example of Christ's human nature.
How so?
It describes Christ's humanity as utterly bereft of self, claiming nothing for his own, seeking nothing, saving that what was due might be rendered to the Godhead.
Complete self-renunciation out of love.
Exactly. It represents the absolute pinnacle of obedience and selflessness, where the individual will is totally aligned with the divine will, fueled by profound love. The ego is just gone.
A powerful image of transformation through divine love, just completely eclipsing the separate self.
Confronting challenges and embracing transformation.
Okay, so we've explored these incredible paths, this potential for connection and love. But let's be real, this journey isn't just sunshine and roses, right? It involves facing some serious challenges.
Absolutely. Suffering, imperfection. They're part of the landscape. Mark Manson, in his book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Feck, talks about something he calls practical enlightenment.
Practical enlightenment, I like the sound of that. What does he mean?
It's not about reaching some state of perpetual bliss, floating above it all. It's much more grounded. It's about becoming comfortable with the idea that some suffering is always inevitable.
Accepting that life isn't perfect, that bad stuff happens.
Pretty much. That no matter what you do, life is comprised of failures, loss, regrets, and even death. And accepting this, truly accepting it, is the path to becoming invincible in a sort of low-level spiritual way.
Low-level spiritual invincibility. How does acceptance make you invincible?
Because, as he puts it, the only way to overcome pain is to first learn how to bear it. It's not about eliminating pain, but building the resilience to handle it without falling apart.
Developing that inner strength to endure rather than trying to avoid the unavoidable. That feels very realistic.
It's a very grounded perspective. And Pema Chodron, in When Things Fall Apart, talks about the Buddhist concept of the middle way. She says it's tough going.
Why tough?
Because it directly challenges our ancient neurotic pattern, our deep-seated habit of wanting to avoid anything uncomfortable. Pain, uncertainty, awkwardness.
Yeah.
We instinctively try to push it away.
Yeah, we definitely do that.
But she says to be fully alive, fully human, and completely awake is to be continually thrown out of the nest.
Thrown out of the nest? That sounds unsettling.
It is. It captures that feeling of constant disruption, of having the rug pulled out from under you, which is often necessary for growth.
So real aliveness means embracing that instability.
It means being willing to die over and over again to our old attachments, our old securities. Death, she says, in this context, is wanting to hold on to what you have. True life requires letting go.
Letting go of our fixed ideas, our comfort zones, our need for control. Dying to the old self to allow the new self to emerge. That takes courage.
Immense courage. And this struggle, this resistance to letting go, it ties into much older ideas too, like the concept of original sin, discussed by David Brooks in The Road to Character, drawing on St. Augustine.
Original sin. What's the take there?
The idea isn't necessarily about inheriting guilt, but that while humans are born with amazing potential, magnificent qualities, something went wrong. Original sin perverted their desires.
Perverted desires? Meaning?
Meaning we end up desiring the wrong things.
Right.
We chase after stuff even when we know, deep down, it won't actually bring lasting happiness or fulfillment.
That feeling of knowing what's good for you but still being drawn to something else, that internal conflict?
Exactly that conflict. Brooks points to the famous line from the Bible, St. Paul's lament. For the good that I would I do not, but the evil which I would not, that I do.
Yeah, that sums it up pretty well for most of us at times.
It highlights this deep human tendency. We're drawn to immediate gratification maybe, or things that feed the ego, even when our deeper wisdom knows better. Aligning our desires with our true good is a constant struggle.
It's not about being inherently bad, maybe, but about that fundamental misdirection of our will, our energy.
Precisely. It's an ongoing challenge. But perhaps the most powerful examples of navigating challenge come when people face truly extreme hardship.
Like Viktor Frankl. His experiences in the Nazi concentration camps, which he wrote about in Man's Search for Meaning, it's almost unimaginable.
It really is. But his story isn't just about surviving horror. It's an incredible testament to the resilience, the freedom of the human spirit.
How so? What did he find even in that environment?
He describes how, even amidst starvation, brutality, the constant presence of death, his soul found its way out of prison life into another life. He could mentally escape. He'd continue conversations with his wife in his mind. He'd find moments of profound beauty in a sunset seen through the barracks window. He even found dark humor in their situation sometimes.
So even when his body was completely imprisoned,
his inner spirit remained free. He realized that external circumstances could take almost everything, but they couldn't take away his freedom to choose his attitude, to find meaning in his suffering. That inner sanctuary was untouchable.
That is profoundly powerful, the ultimate inner freedom.
And this wasn't just a personal realization for him. It became the foundation of his whole approach to psychotherapy, logotherapy.
Logotherapy, the third school of psychotherapy from Vienna, he called it.
Right. And unlike other schools that might focus mainly on past trauma or unconscious drives, logotherapy actively works to orient a patient to the meaning of his life.
Focusing on purpose, on their why.
Exactly. Frankl believed that finding and pursuing a sense of meaning was crucial for psychological health. It enhances our ability to overcome neuroses, to endure hardship. The name itself, logos, Greek for meaning, says it all.
Our primary drive isn't just pleasure or power, but this deep search for meaning.
That was his core insight, born from the most extreme circumstances imaginable. And underlying all of this, facing pain, embracing change, finding meaning, there's a fundamental quality we need.
Courage.
Courage. Rollo May, in The Courage to Create, makes a bold claim about it. He says, courage is not a virtue or value among other personal values like love or fidelity.
It's not just one virtue among many.
No. He says it is the foundation that underlies and gives reality to all other virtues and personal values.
The foundation, how does that work?
No. Well, he argues, without courage, our love pales into mere dependency. Without courage, our fidelity becomes conformism.
Okay, I see. If you don't have the courage to be vulnerable, your love isn't authentic. If you don't have the courage to stand by your beliefs, your loyalty is just following the herd.
Precisely. Courage animates all other virtues,
Yeah.
gives them substance. And May points out that truly creative people, artists, thinkers, saints, often have to actively fight against the dominant forces in society.
Fight what?
He calls them the actual as contrasted to the ideal gods of our society. Things like the god of conformism, apathy, material success, exploitative power. These are the idols many people unconsciously worship.
So being authentic, being creative, often means pushing back against those societal pressures.
It requires courage to resist those idols. And this act of creation, of bringing something genuinely new into the world, whether it's art or science or a new way of being, it's inherently unsettling.
Why unsettling?
Because May says genuine breakthroughs are always accompanied by an element of anxiety. They inevitably shook my self-world relationship.
They disrupt our sense of security, our understanding of how things are.
Exactly. It forces a search for a new foundation, the existence of which I as yet don't know. It's stepping into the unknown. May connects this anxiety to big myths, like Prometheus stealing fire, and even to the fundamental problem of death.
Implying that true creation involves a kind of death to the old self, facing the void before the new can emerge.
That seems to be the idea. It's the inherent risk, the necessary anxiety that comes with stepping beyond the known and the comfortable. It takes profound courage to let go of the old foundation when the new one isn't visible yet.
Just dwelling in that uncertainty, that not knowing, that's tough.
It's where real transformation happens.
Practices for an awakened existence.
Okay, so we've journeyed through the self, the paths, the challenges. Now let's get really practical. What are some specific practices people use to actually cultivate this awakened existence in daily life?
Well, a really central one comes from Ram Dass, summed up in his famous teaching, "Be here now."
Be here now. Simple but profound.
It encapsulates the core idea. He emphasized daily meditation, not just for relaxation, but to achieve total awareness while your body is in a awakened state. The goal is true wakefulness.
True wakefulness. And it's not just about sitting on a cushion, right?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Conversations with God expands on this, clarifying that it includes all kinds of meditation. Stopping meditation, walking meditation, doing meditation, sexual meditation.
So integrating mindfulness into absolutely everything.
Yes. And this state of true wakefulness allows you to really notice things you did not notice while you were passing them by.
Like what? Give me an example.
Like the deep smell of the earth just after it rains, or the simple joy of a child at play. It's about finding beauty and wisdom everywhere out of all the stuff of life.
Bringing full conscious attention to the present moment, whatever it holds, not just rushing past it.
Exactly. Eckhart Tolle, in The Power of Now, gives practical techniques for this. He says you can create a gap in the mind stream, that constant flow of thoughts, in a couple of ways. By focusing your attention deeply into the inner body, feeling the life within your hands, feet, your whole body, or simply by consciously directing the focus of your attention into the now. Just deciding to be fully present.
And this creates a gap.
A gap of no mind. A moment where you are highly alert and aware but not thinking, and Tolle calls this the essence of meditation.
That fleeting moment of pure presence when the mental chatter just stops.
That's it. And when you bring this quality of presence to your actions, everything changes.
How does doing change?
Well, the source gives examples like washing dishes. You enjoy the warmth of the water caressing your hands, maybe the sensation of the suds and the feel of the clean plate.
Turning a chore into a sensory experience?
Or preparing dinner, you consciously feel the love of the universe which brought you this nourishment, and you pour all the love of your being into making the meal.
Wow. That transforms everything.
It turns any action, no matter how mundane, into a gift, an offering from you to your soul and from your soul to the all. It elevates daily life into a sacred practice.
Infusing purpose and connection into the ordinary. That's beautiful. What about practices focused more on self-nurturing or creativity?
Julia Cameron's work, like The Artist's Way, is fantastic for this. She offers really practical tools for what she calls creative recovery.
Creative recovery. From what?
From the blocks, the fears, the self-doubt that stifle our natural creativity. One of her core tools is morning pages.
Morning pages, what are those?
3 pages of longhand stream of consciousness writing, ideally done first thing in the morning. It's not meant to be good writing. It's about dumping the mental clutter onto the page.
Just getting it all out.
Exactly. It helps you map your contradictory urges, untangle your thoughts, and often helps you identify the next right thing you need to do. It's like a conversation with your deeper self.
Okay. And she also talks about artist dates, right?
Yes, she calls them necessary frivolity. It's about setting aside time, maybe an hour or two each week, for a solo expedition just to nurture your inner artist.
Solo. Why solo?
So you're really connecting with your own interests and responses, not filtering it through someone else. It could be anything. Visiting a gallery, browsing a quirky shop, walking by the river, trying pottery, anything that sparks joy and wonder.
Feeding your creative spirit.
Precisely. And a huge part of her work is about reparenting the frightened artist child who yearns for creative accomplishment.
Reparenting that inner child.
Yeah, developing a passion for yourself, giving yourself permission, for example, to write badly, draw badly, paint badly, perform badly, just allowing yourself to practice and experiment without harsh judgment.
Letting go of perfectionism. That's huge for creativity.
It is, because as she says, creativity is its own reward. It's about the process, not just the product.
And she has this powerful mantra too, doesn't she? About treating yourself well.
Yes, from the Artist's Way workbook, treating myself like a precious object will make me strong.
That really flips the script on the no pain, no gain idea.
It does. It challenges the common belief that being hard on ourselves builds character or strength. She asserts the opposite. It is cherishing ourselves that gives us strength.
Radical self-care as a source of power. I like that.
It's about recognizing your inherent worth, not constantly trying to earn it.
So we have these personal practices: presence, creativity, self-compassion. What about connecting to something larger? The transcendent, the collective.
Well, there are some really big picture ideas here. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, the French philosopher and paleontologist, came up with the concept of new genesis.
New genesis. Break that down.
Okay, so psychogenesis is the emergence of individual mind and consciousness. Teilhard saw new genesis as the next stage, the engendering and subsequent development of the mind on a planetary scale.
A planetary mind.
Sort of. He described it as the moment when instinct perceived itself in its own mirror, when consciousness became self-aware on Earth. This leads to an organized web of thought, a kind of noetic system enveloping the planet.
Like a global consciousness network.
Exactly. Operating under high tension, generating high psychosocial energy. He envisioned humanity's collective consciousness evolving, becoming more complex, interconnected, self-aware over time, like a thinking layer on the planet.
Moving towards some kind of culmination point.
Yes, what he called the omega point, a future convergence of consciousness. It's a grand, evolutionary, collective spiritual vision.
Wow, that's mind-expanding. What about more traditional devotional paths?
The Bhagavad Gita, a central Hindu scripture, offers a powerful devotional path. Gita describes himself as the ultimate source, the father, mother, supporter, grandfather of the universe.
The supreme being.
Yes. And the text teaches that one who is in Keta consciousness, deeply devoted, is the best of all saintly persons seeking liberation.
And how does one cultivate that consciousness?
Through devotional service, bhakti yoga. This involves practices like hearing and chanting about VO, another name for God, remembering him constantly through meditation, work, all aspects of life.
And this devotion leads to?
It leads to transcendental bliss. And importantly, it helps to uproot the deep-grown desire for fruitive activities.
Fruitive activities, meaning actions done for personal gain, for the results.
Exactly. Instead of acting out of selfish desire, hoping for a specific reward, the devotee acts out of pure love and service, offering the results to the divine. It's a path of selfless surrender.
Finding freedom not in getting, but in giving, in loving devotion.
Precisely. And finally, we shouldn't forget the profound spiritual connections found in indigenous traditions, often deeply tied to nature.
Like black elk.
Yes, Black Elk, the Oglala Lakota holy man. His visions, recounted in Black Elk Speaks, are incredibly powerful. He heard a song of power, felt an intense connection to the earth. He said, "The horse is of the earth."
It wasn't just symbolic for him, was it? It was a lived reality.
A visceral experience of the sacredness of all creation and his place within it. His visions gave him deep insights into the interconnectedness of everything.
And he had this longing for his people.
Yes, a deep longing for them to once more go back into the sacred hoop representing unity and find the good red road, the path of right living, and the shielding tree symbolizing life and protection.
It's a spiritual path rooted in the natural world. Ancestral wisdom, healing.
And a powerful connection to the Great Spirit. It's a vital reminder that the sacred isn't just out there or in here, but woven into the very fabric of the earth, the sky, the animals, the plants, all our relations.
What a rich spectrum of practices, from inner stillness to collective evolution, devotion, creativity, connection to nature. It's truly vast. Outro. Wow. Okay, that was quite a journey we took today. A really extensive deep dive, I think.
We covered a lot of ground, exploring this incredibly rich, diverse landscape of human self-discovery, the spiritual quest.
Yeah, looking at the self, the ego, the soul, then all those different paths people take.
From stillness and mindfulness to devotion, psychological work, connecting with nature.
And facing the inevitable challenges, suffering, imperfection, the need for courage. We've pulled insights from such a wide range, ancient texts, mystical thought, modern perspectives.
And what really stands out, I think, is that even though the maps, the paths, look so different on the surface, that underlying desire, that human yearning, seems universal. The desire to understand who we are, to ease our suffering, to connect with something meaningful, something bigger than our small selves.
That thread runs through everything, doesn't it? Across all cultures, all times.
It really does.
And remember, for you listening, these insights aren't just, interesting historical ideas or philosophical concepts.
No, they're living wisdom. They offer perspectives, maybe even tools that could be genuinely valuable for your own journey.
Your ongoing exploration of yourself, your growth, right here, right now, in the middle of your life.
Absolutely.
So, to leave you with a final thought to chew on, C.S. Lewis, in his book The Great Divorce, offers this really fascinating idea about time and freedom.
Oh, interesting. What does he say?
He has a character suggest that time's the very lens through which you see, something that would otherwise be too big for you to see at all, and that something.
What is it?
That thing is freedom, the gift whereby you most resemble your maker and are yourselves parts of eternal reality.
Wow. Time as a lens for seeing our freedom, our connection to eternity.
Yeah. And then he poses this really provocative question. How long could you bear to look, without time's lens, on the greatness of your own soul and the eternal reality of her choice?
The greatness of our own soul and the eternal reality of her choice. That's intense.
It is. And if our freedom, our connection to that eternal reality, is really defined by the choices we make moment by moment, right here in time, and if, as Lewis suggests elsewhere, any man may choose eternal death, meaning a final turning away from that divine light within,
then the question becomes,
what choices are you making today, right now, that actually illuminate the true eternal reality of your soul, and which choices might be obscuring it, dimming that light? Something to definitely ponder.
a powerful question to end on.